Where should we go? Okay. I wanted to, this layout from last time manifests what Osensei calls hidden, I call the sensing world, and alluding to the divine that is even a finer level, but we're not going to make an approach on that yet, or tonight, or for a while, because I believe you should have some experience in the hidden world. There's a lot going on there. Okay, where are we? Where are we? Uh, Tonight, because I don't have anything planned. Um, Bob, you were you've been playing with your or just started playing with your students on this manifest, trying to head them into divine in terms of movement, Aikido format. Could you uh, tell us what you've been doing, how they've been doing, how you're bringing them along with that? Don't make big jumps. You can go through the pieces so I don't have to jump in and ask questions or anything like that. Uh,
Okay, Sensei.
okay, so what are you doing with your troops?
We're taking a basic technique, sometimes as basic as Lifetime no Henko, and just starting out, kind of firing a few techniques off, get kind of a baseline of experience. So here's where our starting place is, sort of our level one. And
Sort of
then,
a certain amount of presence.
right. And then
Okay.
various processes, circle and center, a little breathing exercise, various things, but to try to move through and get even a little bit more comfortable with the manifest, and then relaxing, kind of letting the system open, and beginning to touch on the sensing or the hidden dimension, all
Okay.
along the way using the technique as a form of experiential feedback. Because if the process isn't leading you to a deeper experience, it will show up in your technique.
Okay. Let's hold it there for a moment and go over that a bit. So you're doing a basic technique, make sure they're all present and not tripping over their own feet, whatever. Okay.
Yes,
Basic. So you use that basic. Then you have them settle, open, whatever, whatever, to get to a little better level. Okay.
correct.
So this is a people reminder dimensional format. He's doing in smaller steps, a 1 by to a 2 by to a 3 by kind of pattern. Is that right, Bob?
Yes, Sensei.
Okay. Uh, Tell us, so they hopefully to let them and you know we're all here on the right track. How are they doing with that basic technique at the next level or the next level?
What seems to be the surest sign of progress is there's less sort of starting and stopping. When you're off and you try to do the technique, usually whatever your first move is actually moves you further away from a good technique than closer. And then after that, you maybe kind of settle in, and depending, you might fire off something decent. But there's this gap between trying and really letting the technique happen. And that gap gets smaller and smaller until when you get into the sensing world, it changes.
Um, Yeah. So, for example, we've probably seen, I see in my classes, in the earlier stages, they start to do a movement and they look at it and try to figure something out and go back to the movement. That's what you're calling starting and stopping, yeah, kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Now, so they settle enough, for how you're presenting it. It seemed like they're on schedule and moving along there okay. What's your warm up to the sensing world? What do you say to them?
Again, it's a question of process. So if you're starting, for example, with circle and center, because there's no one process better than another, but you got to pick one at a time. The circle gets a little fuller, a little cleaner. The center gets a little deeper, a little more stable, and the interaction between the circle and the center gets fuller and fuller until you begin to have this sense of just an alive space. And that's when it begins to touch on a movement from manifest to sensing.
Okay. The alive space. How are they picking that up? How are you picking that up? It's right now, it's just a word, people, right? Alive. Oh yeah, I know what alive means. It means you're not dead. What's their flavor?
One way it shows up is when the alive space really gets more and more alive, you can see the effect on the uke even before you start the technique.
Okay.
You can see them start to move a little, or their balance starts moving, or something happens
They're
where
being sucked in or something early in the game, kind of thing.
that's
Yeah.
right.
Go ahead.
And then as you get closer to that crossing the border, so to speak, to the sensing world, the Nage begins to pick up the subtleties of the uke's position. So a little turn here, a little turn there. It's a little different each time. Maybe they even notice that the two sides, when they're going from one side to the other,
Okay.
is a little different. So there's a certain amount of sensing that begins to happen in that early stage where your experience of yourself and your relationship to the uke gets much deeper.
Okay, for the folks, the sensing world, the harmony of the two forces, in this case, the uke nage, or the hey ho of things, is an improved level. Okay, it's not just an enhanced. Oh, now we're in a 4.5 by instead of a 3 by or something. When we trade in or use dark time or a veil or a curtain, what's trying to happen there is we're trying to, what's the word, disconnect? We're trying to let go. Oh, that's it. If we're hanging on to the heavier world, what should I do? And I got to watch him. And if we're hanging on to the heavier aspect of the manifest world, we can't really enter and be more present in the sensing world because we're hanging on to this heavy stuff that won't allow us to move into this finer stuff. So it's kind of a potential barrier there or a wall. And that's where either the dark time, and I'll try to refer to Hawaii, Gina, about that. Be prepared. So I'm using different words now. So for some people, it's dark. Gina loves dark time. Okay. That should be a separation from the heavier of the manifest world into a clearer zone. And here we're going to make the jump from that world into the sensing world and then get practice in being in the sensing world. But I also like the words veil, because dark could be weird for some people. It's a veil. We could call the veil a border, but a veil a little easier to pass through the border, or a curtain. There's some activity on stage. The curtain comes down, and the whole structure of the stage, whatever the right terminology is, changes. When the curtain comes back up, it's a whole different scene. I think that's a good visual on it. Huh? Am I blabbering over here?
Sensei, may I say that your use of the word veil is really interesting because you said a veil, and my immediate attention went to available, like you're making yourself available. Avail, to avail oneself of something.
Okay,
And
we
I'm
could
a little,
double up on the word there. So I would continue with veil to then to make yourself available or be present without carrying earlier heavy shit, whatever, into this territory of sensing. So veil to avail. Could we be cute and use that if you'd like? Thank you. Was that Sean?
Yes, it was. And yes, that's a great double use like that.
Yeah, I have my moments. Okay, where are we? Bob, continue a bit more with the beginnings of them. Now we know they're not, fully in a sensing world or anything, but the beginnings of a early sense of them in a sensing world. Do you know anything more in there?
One indication I get, especially if I'm taking the Ukami myself, is it feels like the openings are pretty well covered, in the sense that if I was an attacker rather than a training partner, I probably wouldn't come in there. I'd say they got their bases pretty well covered. There's not an opening there for an attack, so I'm disinclined to attack if I were an attacker rather than a training partner.
Okay. Reminds me of a story. Teaching at the church in San Francisco, those early years. And I must have been standing in a good place because Betsy was my uke and had been for a long time, good uke for me. And I said, come on in, I want to show something. And she stood back and said, I'm not coming in. And there was a professional or retired professional football player standing next to her. And he said, I wouldn't come in either. And I thought, oh my God, a professional football player? And so that sense of there's no openings kind of thing, yeah?
Correct.
Which seems to be a characteristic. And if you were to come in, anything to say there?
The technique starts without hesitation, without interruption.
Yeah. It flows from beginning to end.
And it's sort of already going on in a sense. In the sensing world, that even in its early stages, the distinction between starting the technique and doing the technique begins to go away.
Yeah. And I like that, doing the technique. If you're doing the technique, that's not how it works in the sensing world. Things happen and you may be, your body may be moving in relation to that, but it's not, I'm going to do this technique kind of thing. You don't go out further, heavier to do that technique, yeah?
Yes.
Refined.
One other indication on the pins, when you're pinning somebody, one of the things that begins to show up is, you want to give the person a good stretch with their shoulder and not injure the shoulder, but help it to get more open, more fluid. And it's sort of like the shoulder can tell you what it needs. So your pin fits there. It's even different on one side and the other for most people. But it's like the shoulder can talk to you, and you can hear, you can feel, you can sense the type of movement in the pin that the shoulder needs.
Yeah. And we could say, if you go through the process of, remember the layout we did once, quite a while back, thinking, feeling, finer feeling, even at that level, there should be that finer feeling of, oh, this is as much as a shoulder can take or something. Yeah. But in sensing, even going to be a bit different. Yeah. So again, people, it's not a continuation of finer. Oh, Sensei would say there, that goes on virtually forever. Okay. In the manifest world, you can really cut this manifest world into very thin slices. So apparently finer to finer to finer to finer to finer can just go on forever. What he said he did there was start to say the more original, and kind of a nice phrase, wants to shift out of that world, trading in veil, curtain, dark time, trading in to the other world that's still here and now. Okay. And where am I going? And that's more original in the layout of from the divine creation through the hidden, through the heavier. And I'm doing it linearly, which is not cool. But for humans, we have to dialogue some way back and forth. So by moving into the sensing world, we're a step closer to even a more original world. Anyway, Osensei like to use that phrase a lot, more original, not finer. So you have to know when you're making that shift so you do it clearly. Otherwise, you're going to drag some of the things of dimensional manifest, some of the heavy stuff there. You're going to try to drag it into a sensing world when no, there has to be a real good disconnect, a real veil, a real dark, a real clearing. I'm not sure if we can use that word there. The idea is right, but I'm not sure. Anyway, it says a curtain, a veil, dark. To let go of the heavier so that that's there and finer can show it's there and you can experience that it's there. And now for sensing world, we need a lot of practice there, I would say right now, to not see how it works, to experience how it works. That the harmony laws seem to be much better there. The energy, there's an increase of energy. So in past times when we're talking to a couple of people who are practicing making an approach on sensing world, more than one person said, Steve, jump in. Wasn't there a sense of more energy or pizzazz or something on approach? You remember what you said?
Yeah, there were definitely some, excuse me, more juice there. And also I found it it became light, filled with light at a certain point, even though you're coming in through the dark, and as it opens up, it seems like there's a lot of light.
Yeah.
And self is you have a sense that self is also I don't want to say lurking, but present.
Okay, so a lot of things happen as you make an approach and start to play in there. So he's talking about the texture change. Could I call that light there? It's vibing finer. It's vibing stronger. It's vibing more harmonious. One of your main qualities will quite likely show preceding it or as you begin to be in it or as you're in it qualities. This is where soon we'll go over archetypes, an archetype quality, so that an archetype shows that it's there. You as an archetype, you character, but at this level, I don't think we call them character anymore. We call archetype character. Did I muddle that up too badly?
No, that sounds good.
Yeah. Gina, who loves the dark. Say
Yes, sir.
something.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm here.
So you, whatever beforehand, you sit, you settle, you breathe, you relax, whatever. Okay.
Yes.
And at a certain point, you get a sense of dark, a feeling for dark. Go ahead. What's that do for you? What do you do with it?
I usually use it to get finer and finer. I mean, I just like to hang out there and really get as fine as I
Okay,
can.
but let's stay with the dark.
Well, I'm in the dark doing that.
Okay, in the dark, with a sense that it's getting finer and finer. In the dark or through the dark.
Yes.
Yeah,
It helps
that's
me.
cool.
It really supports my getting finer.
Yeah, okay. Cool. Now, how do you know when you've reached the bottom, so to speak, of that journey, of that down through the dark journey? How do you know when you've reached the finer place, or what clues you in?
Something else shows up, like
Oh, it just
paragraph
shows.
or something. Yeah, it's like I'm asking, I'm getting finer and finer. Who wants to show up? You've given
Yeah.
us so many places to go.
Okay. Now, again, we've got to go back over what's happening for her. I don't know, but with finer and finer, and I just said, well, we really go to more original. So if her sense is finer, finer, but just to get to the beginnings of sensing world, the more original of things, then that's very cool.
Well,
There would be a possibility of going finer and finer and da-da, but you're still in the manifest world. And of course you're better. And I don't know if I'm going to say that well, or if you're going to hear that well. What'd you hear there, Gina?
I hear I am better, and I've been working on getting to the hidden, but I don't know if I'm getting there.
Okay, well, that's why it should be a little more distinct. So that's what I'm wondering, is it just a finer, not, it won't pass that border into that world?
Remember years ago, we used to go down and get really fine and then come up into a finer identity. So I'm
Yes,
kind of
in the manifest world, that's very cool, yes.
coming up into
Yeah.
the hidden. I'm trying to cross over, but
But now we're passing on more development of Bobby Robert Nadeau,
yes.
who would do that pattern. It's a very good pattern. Ooh, what was that?
I don't know.
We want to shift worlds. I need help here.
Yeah, one thing I'm noticing, Gina, when you're talking about this, I'm trying, I'm working on, there's a lot of an I in there, efforting this process, which to me gets in the way of the process.
Yeah. You can't drag a heavy eye and get into this level. See, that's part of the curtain or the dark. Easy, let go of that. Easy, the eye. Let go of that. But I'm concerned about my pet cat. He's not well. Well, you ain't going to get anywhere right now with your process. You're hanging on to something. So that's why the curtain comes in. That's what the dark is supposed to do, to get you out of that first manifest realm into the second realm that's here. It's just behind the scenes. That's probably why Sensei called it hidden. It wasn't visible to the people in the manifest world, even though it's there. Okay. Yeah, there should be something more. That's why we use words like a doorway is not the proper word, but anyway, going down deeper, more original, with your original sense that all's well's here, trading in seems fine, experience fine. That'll be a level where it's a doorway, too small a word, a portal. There's another word, Steve?
Yeah,
Threshold.
I'm trying to, let me see.
Threshold.
Yeah, I know.
Threshold, yes, thank you. Okay.
Threshold,
so
yes.
Portal, a threshold, something to say, da-da! Yeah. So in a certain way, that's what should be there if we do this right. Something.
Sensei, I
See,
remember you once.
hang on a second. When Steve said, whoa, it's suddenly much brighter light. Whoa, there's more juice here. Ta-da!
Well, I haven't hit the da-da, that's for sure.
Well, yeah, so we're going down not just to get finer, which is okay practice, but in the manifest. But now we want to get out of the manifest, so to speak,
Okay.
deeper in whatever, more inner, more original, into the sensing world.
I just keep thinking if I get finer, I'm going to cross through that threshold. I'm going to go through.
It's possible, and I don't have enough experience with that, but I'm just telling you what Osensei told me.
Thank you.
Finer, to finer, to finer, to finer, to finer, to finer, to finer. Yeah.
You know, Gina,
Yeah.
aren't you, are you an actress or singer or?
Yes.
And I
Singer.
keep thinking of, say, a performance, and you are getting ready and you're trying to get, yourself prepared to go on stage, and the curtain goes up and boom, you don't bring any of that there. You're on. There's no trying to get to.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So acknowledging, I'd like to practice with being more present in sensing. I do all my setup and is not trying a certain way. I just lost track of the words I wanted to say. Blah, 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 blah. Forget that. Okay.
Maybe just allowing, huh? Just
Yeah, I don't know. An inference? Can we infer? Easy, settle, open. Sensing world. Yeah. Sensing world. Yeah. See, in a certain way, Bob starts to clue his people in when he said, okay, da-da, you're moving better. I'm seeing you move better, whatever. Now he brings up the subject of the sensing world. Okay. So they're not trying to get better and better and better and better and better. He's I don't know the words, brought up good enough. Now sensing world, easy, sensing world.
Sensei, one of the things you've said for years that we use a lot is to hone our practice so we can say enough is enough. So maybe there's 2 more percentage points of speed or power, whatever we can get. But at a certain point, enough is enough. And as soon as you acknowledge that, really, then you're ready to trade in.
Yeah. So the first earlier practice, it was 1 by to 2 by to a 3 by, Bobby, Robert, Nadeau, whatever. Bad day, fair day, good day, great day. Same. Well, mem shows here, baby. Okay. But then again, more original. So you shift out of that finer thing that's still going on. Boom. And it's there for you. It is there. But there's a border, a wall, a little something you pass through. That's why we have a curtain or a veil, or we go deeper. Yeah. And by going deeper, also we're at first, it seems like coming up into a sensing world is very good. That would be especially good for those people who are heavily on the awareness, but for me are short on the experience, to come up more experientially, or more feeling, sense feeling, of course, but sense feeling, the sensing world. And as it lays out, to continue to experience. Damn the words.
Sensei, you once said it's a membrane, and I like that because it's a very biological, organic, sensing sort of thing.
Yeah. But it also can be a wall for some people if they're hanging on too much to their 1 by 1 world or their 2 by 2 world, and they try to move on. That membrane can become a wall, and they hit it and they bounce, and they hit it and they bounce. They say, screw it. And they go off and do something else. Yeah. So it can feel like a wall to some people.
Thank you,
Sensei.
Sensei.
One other thing you prepared us for over the years is when you're making a big transition from, say, manifest to sensing, if you think of it in the technical sense in Aikido, your first few techniques might get worse or seem to get worse, but things are starting to happen And if you understand that and accept it, you keep going rather than bouncing off and quitting.
Yeah, you have to be ready to experiment. You have to be the guinea pig. You have to not panic on the first, you don't know, or it's not quite right yet. You got to be easy. Oh, another word Osensei loves, easy. The space there is easy with itself. That universe is fairly easy with itself. Easy. He loves that word, that sense, easy. And a lot of people, a little something, and they're not easy anymore. They do what Bob's saying. Yeah. We're on the same page there. Bob. Yeah. Okay. What? So Bob, Gina. Roy, you've been mulling on the move to sensing, haven't you? You
Yeah.
got something to throw in here? What have you been bumping into here?
Well, just that it's, it's very distinct. I mean, what I've noticed is that what's there, that was always there, just communicates with me differently. Right? There's, even if it's just objects or where I am, all of a sudden I'm in conversation with it in a way that just wasn't there moments
In the
ago.
normal manifest development, yeah.
Yeah, it was just background almost, or it was just part of what already was. But entering that sensing realm, it's like the communication process is just different. It's
not just an upgrade on Bobby, doesn't hear very well. Robert
right.
hears a bit better or sees a bit better. Nadeau. Nadeau has a much wider vision. We're not into that anymore. We use it, Now, trade it in, curtain, whatever, and the sensing world that is there. Continue right on it.
Mm-hmm.
Add clarify.
Well, it also then allows for something that wasn't there before to be there. So it allows a kind of a more visual or a more highlighted aspect of myself or of the whole process. So it opens things up, it appears.
It's a world that's present, but wasn't fully known. So we talked, I think last time, about the flow throughs.
Mm-hmm.
You get a flow through from a sensing world, and suddenly you do a little real quick, something magic happens, but you're not sure what happened. But you know it was magic. Whoever else was involved knew it was kind of magic. How'd you do that? I don't know, because I didn't do that. Can you do it again? Hell no, I don't know what happened. So we've got these flash throughs. All we're saying is there's a whole world from whence comes these flash throughs where we can reside more fully, for lack of words. Yeah. To really be a citizen. You talk about being a citizen at a certain level as opposed to a tourist, right? That pattern, those words, can kind of continue into this whole next piece. Yeah. So be a tourist looking around, take up a residence. Yeah. Till you're a citizen. There's tourist, green card guy, and an actual citizen with a heavy sense of experience in there. Yeah. Is how I flavor things a bit.
Yeah, I think the residing there is really powerful, right? I mean, it really gives then the I don't want to say the whole picture, because it's not really a picture, but it gives the full experience when you spend time there. You know where the cafes are, you know where the good pizza is, or whatever. Right? I mean, you got a sense of the place, right? You want to get a sense of the place because it's cool. You've got plenty of sense of the manifest place, and we all know what that is, even at 3x3, 4x4 levels, right?
Yeah. And at that level of even any percentage of that level, you kind of see things that other people don't see. You hear things other people can't hear.
Yeah.
You know things other people don't know. Is Susan on tonight? No? Can't tell if she's in the mountains again here.
I don't see her name, Sensei.
Yeah. Okay. But basically, that's what she's working on. You know, to go past the seeing the patient, okay, settling, beginning to feel the body continuing, settling, opening, starting to feel the energy activity in the body. See how that's flowing around. Now she's moving into a sensing world, and it's damn, it's going to be magical. She's already doing some fascinating work. Yeah. And there's so much that can show there. There's somebody, I forgot who, mentioned Steve mentioned self starts to show clearer for him that it's there in the sensing world. She's picking up selves in the next piece of that work, their selves. Yeah. Can you get the selves and their character to kind of line up better? You can get more progress. Some selves are kind of cattywampus or floating up. It's like the character body is being dangled like not a ventriloquist, a dummy. What? Strings?
Marionette.
Thank you, a marionette kind of thing. So this lineup of self to character seems to be very important. She's bumping into a lot of that. And to be able to dialogue with self. And there's something in between. We're looking at the client, patient, their body, their energy movement through the body. And something that showed up real early in the game was that patient's relationship with their family or surroundings. That suddenly was showing there. All right. I don't know, especially with kids. We see it especially with the kids. How's their family doing with them? You know, are they overpressuring them, or are they giving them space to grow, and are they helping them grow? Suddenly that showed very strong. So this world of sensing, God knows what's available to you. You see, this is Susan style on a medical read thing. So far, coming along great. But what else is there? So that's why we have to spend some time there and open experience and see what lays out for you, right? So if your lineage is more musical, then you'll get a particular thing. If your lineage is more warrior, you'll get a particular thing. She's into healing and stuff, she gets a particular thing. But what really exists there? Wow, who the hell knows? It's big time. It's big.
You know, it also seems from what you're saying and what we've talked about too, that, you know, even at that place, and when you hit that level, let's say, or you're in that realm there, you know, it's not about picking up on it so that you can then run back to the manifest and then apply it into the manifest world, but that this really has a life of its own. This has its own.
Good. So we'll have to get a little clearer on how to stand at that level so that the effect of that level can flow through, affect. So sensing level affects the matter world. And don't let me forget to mention something about 1935 O-Sensei, which fits right in here. But for me to move out of this and move into the manifest world and be a Bobby again, I'm not at the source. It's here, but I've moved out of it. I'm not wording that well, am I? But I'm trying. Yeah. So anyway, you can't take it and then run back into physical and really invest in physical and whatever. It won't work. You've lost it. It was there. You were there, but you moved out. I was meditating one night in Tokyo, having a hell of an experience. It was so vivid that I thought, shit, somebody else can see this. So my wife was in the next room, and I said, quick, come check this out. And I got really excited because it was really, whoa, something special. But I got so excited, it was gone. Now, was it gone, or did I get excited and move out? I think I got excited and moved out of it. Anyway, we'll try to clarify that discussion if need be. Oh, back to Sensei. I'm pretty sure he reinforced it also, that if you get a chance to watch, you're aware of the 1935 film of O Sensei. He's very good. He's bouncing around. He's bouncing other people around. He said the 1935 film was when he was funning around in, majoring in the sensing world. So the harmony of uke, nage, nage, uke, and the naturalness there was there. The extra power was there, whatever, okay? He later moved on to a more divine level after the war time. So were a lot of Aikidos, old-timers, who would say, oh, his Aikido pre-war was better, and that would irk him. And he told me, it wasn't, but they don't have eyes to see that pre-war had a certain something to it. But I continued on. He moved into, let's say, the divine level and could function from there. But they couldn't see the difference because it was more bouncy and bouncing them a bit stronger in visually and stuff. They thought he was better in 1935. He said, no way. I was more advanced after, because he made that transition. Did I say that right?
Sensei, I was wondering if this is the time when you usually use the term realm, and he was operating from a different realm at that time.
Okay. I think I've sometimes used realm instead of world or universe. I may have used different words. So we're still talking about the same thing: manifest realm, hidden realm, divine realm, or world, or universe.
Okay.
Whatever's comfy. I don't care. Okay. As long as they're kind of distinct is all I could hope for.
Sensei, you were talking about the pre-war and the people saying he was better then. And Gozo Shiota in his autobiography had that same feeling that he was better then until he visited him on his last few days of life. And he was trying to get up to go to the bathroom. For some reason, the doctors told the students not to let him get up. I don't know what they thought would happen if he did, but O Sensei let out a ki, laying on his deathbed, and threw 4 big young uchideshis at the same time into the wall. And even Shiota, who's a pretty hard guy, said, whoa. When he told me he was going to be his best on his last day, that was a fact. That was true. That was a serious statement.
Yeah. Yeah, he was very advanced. Yeah. But we're trying to map it out. But it's not just understanding the map, knowing about it. It's a one hell of a lot of experience involved here. Practice of experience. Don't forget that. Okay. So I don't mind laying a map out, but say, oh yeah, I understand. Leave me alone now. I understand. Then, as far as I'm concerned, waste of my time here. Might as well cut my wrist. So a layout, a map, very good. But now to experience. Experience. Okay. And then if you have questions along the path of experiencing, they'll be answered by whoever. Okay. But if you're just asking questions, ask questions. People like old Sensei would phrase he uses with me a lot, which you got to put it on the table, meaning I have to get close to it in experience, then to ask about it and help guide me along a bit there. But if I just sit back and say, now tell me about the most fantastic level in the divine world, because I know about it, I'll get there. No, you won't. Sorry. It's pushing my button. Where the hell are we? Patrick, nice to see you're on. Hope you can keep up with this if you weren't here last class. Manifest hidden divine. So forget the divine for now. Manifest the hidden. Yeah, so anyway, all this downtime, veil, curtain, trade in, whatever sense you have, is to apparently let go of anything we're hanging on to. If you're hanging on to heavy stuff, I don't know, let's go simple. Bobby and 1x1, and there's a 2x2 Robert. It's right there, right there. But I'm in a 1x1. And if I'm hanging on to something in the 1x1, apparently it's difficult, if not impossible, to get to a 2x2 because you keep hanging on to Bobby's 1x1. So you really can't and experience the 2x2. So that's kind of important that you have that flavor of, again, letting go seems important. Right. Since it talks about it more than once.
Sensei, you know what that reminds me of, as you say that, is the kind of what I was talking about before, is that what's communicating to you there, right? I mean, it's like what you're hearing and what you're engaged with at that level. So when you hear this little thing that dribbles in, let's say you're in a 2x2 and you're getting this dribbling in of a 1x1 or the conversation of a 1x1, it's like you got to get the distinction that is part of the 1x1 world, right? I mean, you got to recognize that you're distinct from that small little vortexes that are coming at you, or whatever it happens to be.
I lost what you said, but are you saying if you're in a 1x1, same pattern all along the way, by the way, people, and you're starting to feel energy urgings from a 2x2? No, you're not.
Well, that's not what I was saying. That if you were approaching a 2x2, right, and you're reaching a 2x2, or you're reaching the hidden level.
It doesn't matter. We can use 1x2 as a simple example.
Yeah.
But
So
let me
let's
show
use
it again here.
So if you're in a 2x2, or you're approaching a 2x2, and then there's these dribblings that are holding you or calling you or trying to keep you
of the 2x2 world,
of the 1x1 world.
Oh, I'm sorry, of the 1x1 world. Yeah.
Yeah. That from there is where you would settle and open, and then recognize that really is a conversation of the 1x1. That's not where you are anymore. That's not what that process or that moment is about.
Yeah. And don't we, in starting, have to practice letting go of whatever's calling you in 1x1?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I remember my earlier meditation years, I use the phrase, being pissed off at the boss. Damn it, what he said to me. It wasn't right for him to say, whatever. Now I go into my sitting room, but I'm still on that kick. So, but in my sitting room, I start to settle. This is way back when, so I got to remember. I start to settle easy, probably naturally opens, whatever. And before long, some minutes, for me to think about the boss bitching at me or whatever, I'd have to make an effort to get into that world because it's not in this one. Yeah. So if you're still finding yourself, but he yelled at me when he shouldn't have, and he yelled at me when he shouldn't have, it's like, stop it, do something. Jesus. I don't know. Breathe, settle, and open. Move the body. I don't know, but learn how to disengage. It shouldn't be such a big deal, is it? I don't know. That's that. This is this. Okay. I used to practice sitting by a window when there was a lot of traffic going by. The traffic was that, me sitting, settling, lack of words, this. I put my attention, try to feel this, and a heavy truck would go by, and I notice, ding, heavy truck. That's that. This is this. So I would do dumb practices like that to do what we're talking about, I think. Roy, help here?
Yeah, it's the practice is really I mean, it is a practice, right? So I mean, it requires practice to recognize those communications or that stuff that's occurring, that's pulling you or that's pushing you, whichever vein that happens to be for you, out of that realm that you're in, whether it's a 1x1 to a 2x2, a 2x2 to a 3x3, or whatever.
Or moving out of the manifest into that. Yeah. Just potentially a bigger border, but the same pattern, right?
Yeah.
Same pattern, yeah.
Yeah.
See, aren't there little downtimes or curtains, even Bobby to Robert to Nadeau? It's there, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a transition, right?
Yeah.
I'd say one of the benefits in those little moves in the manifest is each time you successfully make the move, you feel a little better, or you're performing the technique a little better, whatever it is. And then when you're ready to make the move from the manifest to the sensing world, which is bigger, you've built a certain amount of trust that even if the initial feedback isn't that good, you build some trust from these smaller movements that this is heading in the right direction.
Yeah. If you've been married for 3 years and you go home, you expect your wife to be there. You trust she'll be there. I don't know where that one came from. Anyway. Where the hell are we, people? So a couple of good things there. Letting go. Sense of deeper, more original. Sensing world should start to show if you've done a bit of this earlier work, should start to show, yeah. And again, we give you a couple of clues how it might show to you. And we've heard, whoa, it feels bigger. It's like a circle there. The circle of it's bigger. One thing I also have noticed is not only that bigger, but it feels more 360 around. Now, I knew intellectually it was 360 around, but when I hit the sensing world, it's really begins to really be an experience of 360 around. It's not a memory of, or I thought it might be. That's what's showing happening. Yeah. So that, the bigger, the more juicy or powerful or something in that lineage of words you've noticed. Change of texture. It got brighter. Should notice. Because see, it's at its level of vibration rate. So it is more harmonious. It is stronger. It is whatever. But we're all individuals. So the map is the map, but your experience through it, there'll be a bit of yours. of your experience. Huh? See, again, Susan does medical with the patient, and she's on lineage. So she sees if there's an energy disharmony that's throwing their body off, then she sees if the family is screwing the kid over where they're off. And then she sees self not aligned properly and tries to adjust that. What am I saying? That's a healing lineage, could we say? Can she call the market in the sensing world? Beats the shit out of me. If she suddenly said she's having more of an affinity for her horses or her dogs, I would sort of expect that. Because she always has a few horses and a bunch of dogs around. I would expect that to potentially be a natural. But can she play the market? Beats the shit out of me. I don't know what's there for you. You don't know what's there for you. But in doubt, you can follow your basic lineage. Yeah. Or a basic. Oh, Sensei loves, who am I? Who am I really? Okay. So at one level, I'm Bobby. Easy, settle, open, finer energies mixing up. I'm Robert. Don't call me Bobby. Very few people are allowed to call me Bobby. Okay? Screw Bobby. Nado. Don't call me Nado. I'm Sensei. Okay? Who am I? Who am I really? Well, Sensei loves that. Loves that. To use that. Okay. So you don't have to be a healer or a musician or whatever. You could do something like that. Just in the sensing world, who are you? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Chris, you got anything to throw in here?
Yeah,
You making any approach on this sensing world?
yeah. Well, I've always had two parts. I've always had the difficulty in and the guys were talking about before in that manifest in that place when I've begun teaching in Aikido. So you start shifting, you start moving, you think that's great, and then you have to teach. So you fall back into the manifest to explain to other people.
Yep.
And I've always
Yep.
didn't really appreciate how you transitioned so quickly when you did your seminars.
Yeah, but
Go back to
I'm with you there, and I am totally not satisfied yet. Yeah. I think you've seen fast transitions in a 1x, 2x, 3x, 4x.
Yeah.
But my transition to the sensing world is I'm a newbie here. So sort of not satisfied with, but I hear what you're saying. Yes. Yes, I am fast because I played 1x to 2x to 3x, and I sat and I opened and whatever. After a while, bing, bang. Okay.
Yeah.
And after a while, I hate to say this because you'll go mental on me. The speed, because sensing world is here, you get a touch on it. The speed from here, Bobby, to sensing world character can be pop like that. Okay. Now, the problem with the sensing world, also to throw you off, Sensei says, the, what the hell phrase? It's dense. It's dense. When something atrophied, I think. Okay, that in level 1, Bobby, and our whole world, Sensei says is about level 1, pathetic. Anyway, the sensing sense of things is not only, I would have said dormant in the old days, but he used what word I just said? What word did I just use? Atrophied. And yet it is here. What a shame. So some of us need to practice a bit to get more room start to get a sense of sensing, and then sensing world, and then should be able after a bit to go from Bobby Dumb to hey, boom, sensor. Yeah. Oh, Sensei was fast. He was fast. Yeah. But I hate to say that. And why do I hate to say that? Because people say, well, I understand. And that's fast. I got it. But there's nothing here. Nothing happens. There's no, you know.
And I think that's the other part when the discussion was about doing the small steps and manifesting, getting used to it and not getting further along. I think that helps when you are jumping or joking yourself. You know it's not right, and you haven't done the practice right, not the practice, the process correctly, where you haven't lined up nicely.
If it's a situation, it's an emergency thing.
Yeah.
And you know you haven't hit your best. My sense of that is, you know you haven't done your best. You know you kind of missed it. You sort of know you could have done better, but you weren't able to for whatever reason at the moment. Then I practice. So that next time a similar situation or anything of that weight happens, hopefully I'll hit a much, much better level. That's my flavor.
Yeah. And I think that's the nice part about I guess that sensing world for me, in my experience, is that might have been a great moment in Aikido, and it hasn't come out, but you know it was there. There's almost a sense that you've missed it, but you sense what it could have been, and you're like, and I always laugh and go, next time I'll get it. It's like I don't hang on to it, but I just know the magic was missed.
Yeah. Somebody else brought that up. I think I was talking to Stephen Samuels. He loves dreams. He's a major in dreamland. And he said something similar. Anyway, something like, if you wake up in the morning and you can't remember you had a dream, a dream in his case would mean a finer level trying to guide you along. Okay. Does that mean it wasn't there? Or can you say, I don't remember if I dreamt, but I'm going to settle and open. And that was there that I don't remember at all is clarifying for me now. So I like what you said, because to hear it now, and I just heard it yesterday, a very similar vein for whatever.
Well, it's almost like the flow's there, the sense is the flow is there. You've missed or bumped out of the flow, but you can still sense the flow that it was meant to be. That river's still flowing, or that movement's still flowing, and you're like, oh, I missed my opportunity, but you recognize that you've missed it and you weren't in the right place, or you've bumped out. Yeah, that's kind of cool.
And it's the sense of the sensing world being present. It's just as I'm in a thicker, and there's a little barrier, wall, membrane, whatever, but it's here. So it's practice, boom, boom, to move from here to here. Yeah, should get better. Should get better. Again, people, not as an yes. I believe there is an underlying sensing world. Yes, I got it. It's there's a word, feeling word. Help me, people. Look at me. It's something. It's no word. Sean, no word, for Christ's sakes. When I need you, where are you?
Okay, so I would say that the idea is that you're when you say that you're
No, I'm going to cut you off, John, because you're talking about. I just want a goddamn word here. Oh, Sensei uses a couple. I don't remember them.
Substance.
Not intrinsic. Experiential. Let's let it go. Thank you, Sean. Sorry to put you on the spot.
innate, like of one's own nature, innate.
Blurred on me.
Embedded, integrated.
Whatever. Okay.
Thank
I
you.
thought I saw Autumn's name on. Autumn, you on?
Yep.
Is that a yes?
Yep. I'm here, Sensei.
Oh. Autumn, I was tracking you, if you don't mind. I was tracking you a couple of weeks ago. It seemed like you had a big jump improvement in your centered character. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I had kind of gotten more stable in building the fuller character and going.
Good. Yeah, it looked to me very, very impressive. A very good jump. It was like, whoa, nice piece of work.
I was practicing. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, it was cool. I hope you don't mind. I like to scan you because I like your self lineup too. How you came into this life. I
Thank
like
you. I appreciate
sexy how
it.
you doing with that. Hey, very impressive anyway. Very impressive. Yeah. I would imagine also the fuller, deeper, taller, whatever, the fuller you character are, then as an actor, actress, the ability of clearing so that the character you're playing can be there more fully. It's like all the channels for fuller are there. Am I saying that good enough?
Yeah, so that it's so that all the eye isn't sort of in the way.
And say, okay, I'm going to say again, I'm not sure what you said right here. By establishing and experiencing you character, better, fuller, stronger, whatever, it was very impressive. I don't recall the details, it's been a few weeks. But you would think by feeling yourself as a, let's say, that's my word, stronger character, okay, that then when you clear in acting to allow a character to be there, a character you have to play for the play, that because you've opened up deeper, fuller channels, the deeper, fuller of the character that's mixing to be the character of the play will even be better. If you followed what I said, if not, it's no big deal.
That's clear. Yes, Sensei.
I think I'm saying, I'm going to go over it again. If you as a person were shallow with your depth, how could we ask you to play a character that has a lot of depth? You see, the channels aren't open, the space isn't open there, kind of thing. So it seemed to me it would be a hindrance. Just something caught my attention. Nothing to do with nothing. Pass. People, me and Brad have to go out for pizza. So whatever, anything here driving you crazy? Anything on your practice runs with this? And I surmise you've all been practicing and playing and da.
Sensei, one thing we've been working on is, which you've talked about tonight a little bit, is how to avoid getting kicked out of the sensing world and going back to manifest. And we've gotten better and better at recognizing the reference points in the sensing world are unique to the sensing world, rather than trying to look for reference points that we're familiar with in the manifest. Because
Yes.
if you do that,
Yeah. Could we say the rules in the sensing world are a bit different? You know?
yes,
I mean, in the manifest world is talking as warriors, we have to keep an eye on him. He's holding a weapon. I got to keep my eye on him. Yeah?
yes,
Yeah. Basic, no? But what did Sensei do? He turned his back. And he would sense. So they're going to hit him. They didn't ki and give him a 5-minute notice or clomp the floor. They were just right there. He wouldn't be there. Sensing. So the rules of you got to keep your eye on them. You got to notice if he raises his arm, because that probably means he's going to swing it. He ain't using that. So yes, good point. Yeah, did I say it? Did I come back right?
Yes, Sensei. There's an interview with Junichi Haga, who was one of the best kendo men in Japan for a long time, won a very prestigious tournament in front of the emperor, was an instructor to the imperial guards that protected the emperor. He said he challenged O-Sensei once and they went out on the mat, and O-Sensei was just walking around and he couldn't hit him. Now, it wasn't like he was dodging or moving or anything. It completely baffled this great kendo master because it looked like he was just walking around on the mat casually, but he could not hit him.
Are you talking about the naval captain?
No, this is an actual guy, Junichi
Same
Haga.
story. Same set happening, but a different character. Okay, cool. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, he said this man is doing something different than anything I've learned in my martial arts training.
Yeah.
So he's at least smart enough to see that.
Yeah. I think there, Sensei was picking that up as a preview, could I say, of the divine level. Yeah, that's how it sounded to me when he was talking about that. Wherever. Anyway, okay, manifest, hidden, divine. I don't know. Maybe if you sort of keep calling, so to speak, keep acknowledging there is a sensing world, and then in your other moments, maybe the sensing world will call you in, affect you. Did I say that right? See, Moon's still trying to figure out why he picked up the French horn. Something inner finer saying, if you pick that up and play with that, you have to change a bit. So he already told you that was happening because he said, man, he plays that a little bit and whatever was, how do you word it? Whatever was bugging him before just doesn't exist anymore.
I said the French horn is the answer to world peace because after you play for a few minutes, yeah, you know, that kind of breathing exercise, you know where that takes you.
Yeah. So did he choose the French horn or did his system say, Richard, time for the French horn? You know what I mean? So not only is there an urge or a little desire, there was a little desire, but an opportune walks in, gets it. There it is, and he gets a deal on it. Oh. And that's just the early kindergarten stage. What's it like as we take up more full presence residence as the censor? I don't know. Let's play. Let's experiment. Let's Sensei calls this level laboratory. Library, laboratory, gymnasium. Interpreted as, yes, I understand, and I'm getting more facts. Library, fine. You might need to get some ideas to then play with them. The beginnings of experiencing, funning around with different angles on those things. And then fuller the experience of that, the fuller experience. So that's his layout to me of library, laboratory, gymnasium. Okay. I think I'm finishing up. I was going to quit early, but we stretched it out. Reminder. 4th of July is not going to be our best shot, right? Weekend, so nothing on the 2nd. Wait a minute. That's the 1st. Nothing on the 1st of July time, right?
Whenever. Yes, that was in the notice also, Bob.
Oh, okay. We'll kick it back on the 19th. And big time this, big time. I hate to touch it and then jump onto something else because it's big time. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Enjoy
Thank
your
you,
pizza.
Sensei.
Thank you.
Yeah.
See you on the 19th
Thank you,
of
Bob.
July.
And thank you, Roy.
Yeah,
Thank you, Sensei.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Sensei.
Thank you, Sensei.
Thank you, thank you.